Hello likers, welcome back to our channel. It's me, your fave, your one and only, your baby girl Malaika. So likers, we are doing the critical review of Mr. Aloy's series When Marriage Becomes a Nightmare, episode 18. So it starts with Clara and her daughter. Clara is not happy because her daughter was very disrespectful towards her, when she went to her restaurant to confront her. But thank God she has a child that knows when she's wrong. She felt guilty because she later found out that her dad lied. She later found out that her dad is manipulative. Her dad was trying to manipulate her into believing that her mom did those things that he accused her of doing. So she felt very uncomfortable. She really felt bad and needed to apologize to her mother, because that is what anybody should do. When you know that you effed up, you have to apologize. This child was more sensible than a lot of adults that I know. And it was really a good thing for her to apologize, but she was trying to understand how come her mother is still coping despite knowing fully well that her dad is a manipulator. But this is when you know that women are very strong. Some women are just born strong. They don't like, it's not like they can't do anything or they don't have anything to do. It's just that when you're strong, you're strong. It's just like that. So she made her daughter understand that that is life for you. You have to learn how to be strong. You have to learn how to be a wife. Yes, and you have to understand certain things and let go. So the only thing she wanted her daughter to take out of it is that she wants her daughter to always be an upright person and always be that type that will always say the truth and always stand for the truth. And this is something that parents should always tell their kids. She didn't care that her daughter takes sides with her or takes sides with her dad. All she wants is for her daughter to always stand by the truth. And unfortunately, a lot of parents are unable to say that to their children. Yes, a lot of parents are unable to say that. Like, as honestly speaking, people should stand for the truth, because I know a lot of adults that are unable to stand for the truth because they always want to be partial. They always want to take side with wrong. But no, she made her daughter understand. Even I, your mother, if I do something that is not right, tell me. So the next scene shows Jonathan in his bedroom, angry like a child. And Clara walks in coming from her daughter's room. And Jonathan, being the grumpy man that he is, he always wants to know where she's coming from. So Clara is surprised that, she's surprised as though she doesn't have the right to walk freely in her own home. Like, what's up? What's going on? Is she not supposed to be okay in her home? But to Jonathan, if Clara is not in her restaurant, Clara is supposed to be in her bedroom or in the kitchen. If Clara is not in those places, it's either Clara is talking over the phone with Hanks because he's convinced that Clara is having an affair with Hanks, or Clara is trying to manipulate their daughter, to go against him. That is sick. Honestly speaking, that is sick. When a man starts thinking like that, it's crazy. Because for you to think that your wife will actually, manipulate your daughter, to make your child to go against you, it's crazy. Your wife has to be a very sick person, to do that. That's crazy. So Clara is just funny. The whole thing is funny because to her, she has nothing to hide. She doesn't talk secretly on the phone with Hanks, and she cannot manipulate their daughter because to her, the biggest manipulator is Hanks. Hanks is the one that always wants people to, to pity him. He's always throwing a pity party. He's always making things. He's always lying, always manipulating people. That is Hanks's job. And Clara is trying to make it known to Hanks that she will never be that person that he wants her to be. Which means Hanks actually married a woman that he didn't know. Or is the problem is that Hanks is losing it because Clara, it seems as though Clara used to be that woman that will believe everything that you say. She used to be this woman that whatever it is that her husband says is the truth. That is what she believes. But today, Hanks is finding it difficult because Clara is no longer that woman. Clara is no longer taking his excesses. Clara is thinking on her own. She's making her own decisions, and Hanks isn't, like, he's not okay with that. It's making him angry, because he's realizing that Clara is no more on the leash. Clara is no more on the leash. So he starts accusing Clara of being like a cheat, of having an extramarital affair. Like, are you for real? I don't. Why is it that if a woman doesn't succumb to what her husband wants, it means that she's seeing another man? No. Some women are cheap like that, yes, but not all women. And I don't see anything wrong. Yes, it bruises his ego, but I don't see anything wrong with Clara getting help from Hanks, because that same help is helping them in that family. And he has a job today because of that same Clara he's accusing. You make all sorts of accusations, but you're not willing to leave that job. So Clara had no choice but to smack him, because you cannot call her names, you cannot destroy, you cannot assassinate her character. Yes, that's character assassination, for calling your wife a cheat in her presence, that she's sleeping with another man. She's always looking for means to hide and talk to him, whereas she has a restaurant that she runs, and she could do whatever it is that she wants to do over there, and nothing will happen, because she will be at work. You will not be able to see her doing those things. That is crazy, like us, honestly. So the next scene shows Clara the next day in the kitchen, preparing breakfast for her family before going to work. But Benny was surprised, because to her mom is supposed to be at work. Besides, her mom has taught her how to cook. She knows how to cook. She can make breakfast. And her mom is not supposed to do this. But Clara wants to do this for her family, And she said also, because she's spending some time with her family, because her workers are there, they'll take care of everything. She wants to go somewhere with Debbie to shop, to buy foodstuff cheaper. And there's this thing like us about us human, is that sometimes we are in a circle, we don't see things, within our circle. It has to take somebody from outside to say it. Debbie made something. She told her mom that, I want you to look at this thing I'm about to, like a game of chess. Like, when you are playing, you don't see, but people outside see your mistakes, see how you have to play the game of chess. Be careful of your friend Debbie. And if Clara can remember, this is the second person asking her to be careful of Debbie. Yes. Ben, her husband's friend, Jonathan's friend, told her the same thing, to be careful of Debbie. Yes. And her daughter, she needs to start thinking. She needs to start thinking. Because when you see people telling you be careful of somebody, be careful. The next thing shows Jonathan, as usual, going to cry to his friend Emeka. So if he knows that he cannot go to his other friend, because he will tell him the truth. But Kenny will tell him the truth, but Emeka will lie to him. So he comes to Emeka and make up stories about his wife beating him in the presence of her boyfriend. You are calling your wife's name in the presence of your friend. And how do you want this friend to respect your wife? Like, as you people, we should stop normalizing, gossiping about our spouses or about our friends to either our husbands or our friends. It's not right. You cannot take other people to go and gossip to your spouses or your partners or your friends. It's not right. It's not right. And now he's coming up with all these crazy ideas, that he should do something. If he doesn't do something, he's going to lose, blah, blah, blah. He should manipulate his mother-in-law based on the fact that she likes him. He should manipulate her. He should make his wife to put his restaurant under his name. Clara must be the dumbest woman on earth to put a restaurant under his name. Because for a man who couldn't, manage a business he opened, How can he manage his wife's business? How? How is that even possible? That he will manage his wife's business. Clara will never on this earth. She will prefer that marriage to crash and burn than to do something like that. She will never put her business under this man's name. Never. It's not happening. She'll prefer it to crash. She'll prefer everything to be destroyed. I swear. She will never do that. So the next thing shows Hanks in his office working, and someone knocks. So he asks the person to get in, and it happens to be Jonathan, who brought him some documents to sign. I hope Hanks is careful enough to always thoroughly go through documents, brought to him by Jonathan. And his secretary came back. She went to buy food from Clara's restaurant, So she was trying to explain to her boss the reason why she took some time, that Clara wanted to prepare it specially for him and blah, 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 and all the rest. And Jonathan, hearing it, his face, you could see how his face was changing, and all the rest. Like, are you okay? I don't know, like, the level of tolerance, oh my God, tolerance from Hanks, seaside, towards this guy, Jonathan, is so annoying. I can't lie to you, my people. It's really annoying because I don't understand why Jonathan will be so tolerant with Hanks. Sorry, why Hanks will be so tolerant of Jonathan. He is working in your company, for Christ's sake. He cannot be questioning your movement. He cannot be questioning who you talk to. It's not normal. The way he tolerates this guy is appalling. Honestly speaking, it is appalling. How can you ask him to stay away from your wife when he didn't go to your wife's shop? You don't want him to text your wife, to speak to your wife or anything. Don't you realize that if they stop talking, your wife will come to his office to find out what is happening? Because that is her friend. A man that you're like, this is why I said I am done doing Mr. Aloy series. I'm not doing. After this one, Lighters, I'm sorry. I'll be doing my Amebo. Yes, I'm not doing Mr. Aloy stuff again. I am not. Because on a normal day, this rubbish cannot happen. That your employee, somebody that you, the employer you employed, will be talking to you and to pointing you fingers for where it stand. Where have you seen this happen? Speaking to you like that because you bought food from his wife's restaurant. The same restaurant that you borrowed her money to open. You gave her money to open. He's warning you not to patronize her business. It can only happen in Mr. Aloy's series. It's so annoying, please. It's really, really, really annoying to me, Like, Jonathan was so Hanks just told Jonathan that it's obvious that you don't have anything to say, and it's obvious that something is wrong with you. You understand? Like, I can't really do this, And Jonathan is insisting that, and he's making Jonathan to understand, if I stay away from your wife will come to this office, And that thing that you're thinking that we cannot do on the phone, or that thing that you're thinking that we are doing on the phone, what makes you think it will stop us from doing it in this office? What will happen? Yes. If you think that they are knacking or whatsoever, they will still knack. So, like, the next scene shows Benita studying, and her grandmother, who likes to poke nose, came to speak to her, and she wants Benita, to advise her mother. Yes, to advise her mom based on the fact that her mother listens to her. She wants her to advise her. So because her mom is so dumb, she wants to advise her to stop, frolicking with another man whereas she's married. I don't know if these people realize that you cannot talk about a child's mother to her like that. Like when my mom was alive, you will not talk about my mom like. My mom's sister and I, we are not on speaking terms today because she gossiped about my mother. I found out. And I made her understand that you don't talk about my mother. It is rude for adults to talk about parents in the presence of their children. It is not right. It is not right. Asking her to tell her mother to stay at home while her father be the breadwinner of the family. And I love the fact that Benita asked her grandmother, are you talking about my same father, that my mother should lock up the restaurant and stay at home, her husband should take care of herself? She said yes. Have you forgotten that my same father couldn't manage a business? My same father couldn't keep a job? And this job that you want my mother to stay at home for my father to keep, my father will not be able to keep that job, because he will be fired. And at the end of the day, my mother, you know, will not be able to take care of us because she would have shut down the restaurant, as you say, returned the man's money. Grandma, are you going to take us to in your home when we return to the village? Are you going to do that? This woman, she's living in the 19th century or the 15th century, yes, when women were supposed, their place was supposed to be in the kitchen. I'm not saying, I will never advocate. I'm not a feminist, guys. I will never advocate for women, women gender equality. No. If you say there's gender equality, it means you call God a liar, because God was not a fool to create man from mud and to create a woman from a man's rib. That's where I'll go all the time. You understand? A woman is a man's partner, is a man's help and everything. A woman will never be equal to a man. But I will not accept that a woman will have to sit at home doing nothing for her, if she can, for her husband to take care of her, that she's healthy, she's okay. You will see crippled women out there. Much love to all people that are handicapped. I send love to you people. They are hustling. So how much a full this mother, you back to sender. Like us, we should protect our mental health from mothers like this and from husbands like this Jonathan. Protect your mental health. Be careful, because this woman is living in the ancients of days time. She's wanting her daughter to live like that, forgetting that today it is not like that. Guys, protect your mental health, take care of yourself, and be careful. It is not because somebody is your mother or your father that they'll tell you how to run your marriage or how to run your house. Do not accept that. On this note, I have to say bye, guys.